The night was silent, broken only by the distant crackle of burning ships. The war between humans and the alien kingdom had left the battlefield in ruins. Smoke covered the sky, and broken weapons lay scattered on the ground. Among the wreckage walked a tired man, Captain Ethan Hayes. His uniform was torn, his body bruised, but his spirit still strong. He was not searching for victory anymore. He was searching for survivors. Ethan heard a faint cry, weak and almost lost in the chaos. He stopped, his ears sharp. Again, the sound came like someone calling for help. Slowly, he followed the sound through the wreckage. His boots crushed broken metal as he moved closer. Behind a fallen pillar, he found her. An alien girl. No, not just a girl, a princess. Her silver crown lay broken beside her. Her skin glowed faintly in the darkness, but her face was pale, her lips trembling. She was dying. Ethan's breath caught. He had only heard about the alien royal family in reports. They were the heart of their empire, untouchable, guarded by armies. But now one of them was lying helpless before him. Her chest rose and fell painfully, blood seeping from a deep wound. Her eyes opened weakly, meeting his. They were not like human eyes. They were bright, like two small galaxies spinning inside her gaze. And in those eyes, Ethan saw fear and hope. Help me, she whispered, her voice fragile, almost broken. She spoke his language, though barely. Ethan knelt beside her, quickly checking her wound. The cut was deep, and her blood, glowing blue, flowed endlessly. No bandage he carried could stop it. His training told him the truth: she would not survive. But his heart refused to accept it. "Stay with me," Ethan muttered, his hands shaking. "Don't close your eyes." Her hand caught his wrist. Her skin felt cold, her fingers trembling. Then, with surprising strength, she whispered something that froze him in place. "Your blood. Give me your blood." Ethan stared at her, confused. Human blood? Could that even work? Their species were different. Their biology, their systems, everything was alien. It could kill her instantly. It could kill him too. But her eyes pleaded with him, desperate and innocent. He could not walk away. Not when she was asking him with her last breath. He looked around. There was no one else. No medics, no machines. Only him, only her. And a choice. Ethan took a deep breath. "If this kills us both, at least you won't die alone." With his knife, he cut across his arm, letting the blood flow. Red human blood, warm and steady. The princess weakly lifted her arm, and somehow her veins responded. Her body pulled his blood into hers as if it recognized him. The connection was unnatural, frightening, yet undeniable. For a moment, nothing happened. Her breathing grew weaker. Ethan's heart pounded. Had he just made her last moments worse? Then suddenly her body arched. Glowing veins spreading through her skin like lightning under glass. Her eyes shot open, burning with strange light. She gasped, her chest rising fully as if life had rushed back into her. Ethan fell back, stunned. His blood still dripped, but now his veins glowed faintly too, the same way hers did. He touched his arm in shock. The mark was not normal. It looked alive, pulsing with light. The princess sat up slowly, her strength returning in ways that should have been impossible. She looked at him, her face pale but filled with wonder. "You gave me your life," she whispered. Her alien voice now sounded clearer, stronger. "Why, you are human. My people's enemy." Ethan shook his head, his breathing heavy. "I didn't save you because of war. I saved you because you were dying, and no one deserves to die alone." For a moment, silence surrounded them. Then, to his surprise, tears fell from her glowing eyes. She looked at him with something more powerful than gratitude. "You are not my enemy," she said softly. "From this moment, you are bound to me." Ethan frowned, confused. But before he could ask, the ground shook. Loud footsteps echoed in the distance. Alien soldiers searching, moving closer. The princess turned her head, her face filled with alarm. "They cannot find you here," she said urgently. "If they do, they will kill you." Ethan stood, gripping his weapon. His body felt weaker from the blood loss, but strangely, a new energy burned inside him. He felt connected to her, as if her strength flowed into him. The princess reached for his hand, her grip firm. "Come with me. Our fates are joined now." Ethan hesitated only for a moment. He knew his life had just changed forever. What started as a desperate act of kindness had created something no one could have expected. A bond between human and alien that might rewrite the future of two worlds. And as the soldiers' shadows approached, Ethan realized one thing with certainty. This was only the beginning. The night grew darker, and the sound of marching boots drew closer. Ethan tightened his grip on his rifle, though his hands still trembled from blood loss. His arm burned with the strange glowing marks that now connected him to the alien princess. He didn't understand what was happening inside his body, but he didn't have time to think. Survival came first. The princess pulled herself to her feet, leaning slightly on him for balance. Her glowing veins were still visible, but her breathing was stronger now. She looked fragile yet powerful, like a star that refused to fade. Ethan glanced at her crown, broken on the ground, and finally understood. She was no ordinary survivor. She was royalty. "Who are they?" he asked quickly, pointing to the shadows of alien soldiers moving closer. "My father's guards," she whispered. Her voice shook not with weakness but with fear. "If they see you, they will not let you live. You gave me life, but to them you are still the enemy." Ethan cursed under his breath. Helping her had already changed everything, but now he realized the true danger. If her people found out a human soldier had touched their princess's blood, they might see it as corruption, a crime punishable by death. "We need to move," he said firmly. The princess nodded, though hesitation flickered in her eyes. She had spent her life surrounded by armies, yet in this moment, she trusted only one man, the human who had risked everything for her. They slipped through the ruins, Ethan guiding her carefully. Each step echoed like thunder in his ears. His body felt weaker, but strange surges of energy pulsed through him from time to time. It was almost as if her blood inside him was fighting to keep him alive. The soldiers' voices grew louder. Harsh guttural commands in their alien tongue carried across the broken battlefield. Ethan pulled the princess behind a collapsed wall, his hand instinctively covering her mouth as two guards passed by. Their armor glowed faintly, their weapons humming with deadly energy. The princess's heart pounded against his hand. She wasn't used to hiding. She was used to commanding. But now she was forced into silence. When the soldiers moved away, Ethan finally let go. Their eyes met in the darkness. Two enemies now bound together by a secret stronger than war. "Why did you save me?" she asked suddenly, her voice barely above a whisper. Ethan exhaled, shaking his head. "Because you were dying. And I couldn't just watch." She studied him for a long moment. "In my world, humans are called destroyers, monsters, yet you gave your life to me. Maybe everything I was told is not true." Before Ethan could reply, an explosion shook the ground. Dust rained down on them as fire lit the horizon. The alien soldiers turned, rushing toward the blast. It was another human squad, caught in the open. Screams filled the air. Ethan's instincts screamed at him to help, but he knew he couldn't. He could barely stand, and he had the princess to protect. He forced himself to look away, guilt carving deep into his chest. "We head east," he muttered. "There's a human outpost not far from here." Her eyes widened. "Your people will kill me if they see me." "Not if I vouch for you," Ethan said. His voice was firm, but doubt twisted inside him. Would his own people accept her? Or would they treat her as a prisoner, a bargaining chip? The princess stopped walking, forcing him to turn back. "You don't understand. My blood, your blood, they are mixed now. That bond cannot be undone. If your people discover it, they will fear you too." Ethan froze. The glowing marks on his arm pulsed as if to confirm her words. Bound. That was the word she had used earlier. Bound together. "Then what do we do?" he asked quietly. The princess stepped closer, her galaxy-like eyes staring deep into his. "We run. Together. Until we find a place safe for both of us." For a moment, Ethan felt the weight of his choices crush him. He was a soldier, trained to follow orders. But this was different. He wasn't just carrying a wounded ally. He was carrying the future of two species bound by blood. Before he could answer, a beam of light swept over them. The alien soldiers had returned, scanning the ruins. One of them shouted, "They've seen us," Ethan growled. The princess grabbed his hand, her strength surprising him. "This way!" They sprinted into the shadows, dodging broken walls and burning wreckage. Energy blasts sizzled past them, striking the ground and sending sparks into the air. Ethan fired back once, forcing the soldiers to take cover. But his aim faltered from exhaustion. The princess suddenly raised her hand, and to Ethan's shock, a surge of blue light burst from her palm, striking the ground before the soldiers. They staggered, confused, as if blinded. Ethan looked at her in awe. "What was that?" She gasped, clutching her chest. "Your blood." It awakened something inside me. Powers I never had before. Her words hit him like thunder. His blood hadn't just saved her. It had changed her. They didn't stop running until the ruins faded into the distance. Finally, they collapsed behind a ridge, breathing heavily. Ethan's vision blurred from blood loss, but the princess placed her glowing hand over his wound. A warmth spread through him, calming his pain. "You saved me," she whispered. "Now I will save you." Ethan stared at her glowing face, realizing their fates were now tied tighter than chains. And as the night grew colder, he knew the real journey was only beginning. The ridge gave them a moment of silence, but silence could not hide fear. Ethan leaned against the rocky wall, his chest heaving. The glow in his arm still pulsed like a heartbeat, strange and alive. He had lost much blood, but somehow he was still standing. He wondered if the alien princess's strange energy was keeping him alive. The princess sat beside him, her face pale but calm. The faint blue light from her veins cast a soft glow in the darkness. For the first time since meeting her, Ethan noticed she was younger than he thought. No more than 20 by human standards. Yet her eyes, those galaxy-filled eyes, carried centuries of knowledge. "Are you in pain?" she asked softly, her hand reaching toward his wound. Ethan gave a faint smile. "I've felt worse." Her fingers brushed his arm, and instantly warmth spread through him. It was not like normal healing. It was deeper, almost spiritual, as if her very essence was flowing into his body. Ethan shivered. This connection was more than survival, it was fusion. She looked at him carefully. "You feel it too, don't you?" Ethan frowned. "Feel what?" "The bond," she whispered. "Your blood inside me. My blood inside you. It ties us together. I hear your heartbeat in my head. I feel your fear as if it were mine." Ethan froze. Could that explain the strange rushes of strength he felt when she touched him? Or why his own wounds didn't ache as much when she was close? Before he could answer, his stomach twisted with guilt. His unit, the other human soldiers, had been fighting nearby. He had abandoned them. What if they had all died while he was protecting her? He stood suddenly. "I have to find my men. They're counting on me." The princess rose too, her expression serious. "If you go back, you will be torn apart. My people are hunting us. Your people are hunting me. If either side finds us together, we are finished." Ethan's jaw tightened. He was a soldier sworn to duty, but now he was chained to something greater than orders. He stared at her, the glow in her veins reflecting in her eyes. "Then why don't you tell me your name at least?" he asked finally. She hesitated, then whispered, "Liara." The name sounded like music, soft but strong. Ethan repeated it under his breath. "Liara." For a brief second their eyes locked, and the world felt strangely quiet, as if war itself had paused. But the moment ended when the sky lit up with flashes of gunfire. Far to the west, human soldiers clashed with alien forces. Screams echoed across the battlefield. Ethan clenched his fists. He couldn't leave them. Yet he couldn't abandon her either. His chest felt heavy with the impossible choice. Liara touched his shoulder. "You don't have to choose," she said gently. "If your people die, mine will not stop. And if mine win, your kind will vanish. But perhaps, together we can stop both sides." Ethan stared at her, disbelief in his eyes. "You're saying two people can stop a war?" Liara's gaze hardened. "Not two people. Two bloodlines fused into one. The bond is greater than you understand." Before Ethan could reply, the ground trembled. From the shadows of the battlefield came a low growl, followed by heavy thuds. His heart raced. These were not soldiers. These were beasts, warhounds bred by the alien empire, unleashed only in desperation. The princess's eyes widened. "They will track us by scent. My father's beasts do not fail." Ethan raised his rifle, his hands shaking. "Then we fight." The first beast appeared over the ridge, massive, its body armored with thick plates, eyes glowing red. Its roar shook the air. Ethan fired, bullets sparking against its hide but barely slowing it down. The creature leapt, its jaws wide. Ethan braced for impact, but suddenly Liara stepped forward, her hands glowing with the strange energy awakened by his blood. A burst of blue light erupted, slamming the beast mid-air and throwing it back. Ethan's mouth dropped. "You can control that?" Liara gasped, sweat dripping from her brow. "I couldn't before. Your blood unlocked it, but I don't know how long I can hold it." Another beast appeared, then another, 3 of them snarling, their claws scraping the rocks. Ethan fired again, managing to wound one, but the others charged. One pounced at him, knocking his rifle away. Its claws slashed across his armor, cutting deep. Ethan cried out, but before the beast could finish him, Liara screamed. Her glowing veins flared brighter, and a wave of light burst out, blasting the creature off him. Ethan staggered up, clutching his bleeding side. He looked at her with shock. Her power was growing stronger, but so was her exhaustion. She swayed, almost collapsing. He rushed to catch her. "Liara, stop! You'll kill yourself!" Her voice trembled. "I won't let them take you. We are bound. If you die, I die too." The beast regrouped, snarling, preparing for another attack. Ethan tightened his grip on her, anger rising like fire. He wasn't going to let this bond kill her. He grabbed his knife, the same one he had cut himself with earlier. His blood still marked the blade. With a roar, he charged the nearest beast, stabbing deep into its neck. The glow from his veins seemed to spread into the wound, and the beast shrieked before collapsing. The other two beasts hesitated, growling, as if sensing something unnatural. Liara lifted her hand again, her power sparking. Together, human and alien stood side by side, bleeding and glowing, facing down enemies neither could defeat alone. And for the first time, Ethan realized the truth. The bond was not a curse. It was their only chance to survive. The beasts circled them, but Ethan's voice was steady when he spoke. "Then let's show them what this bond can do." The night echoed with the growls of the war beasts. Their claws scraped against the stone as they circled Ethan and Liara, glowing eyes locked on their prey. Ethan's knife dripped with blood from the beast he had killed, but his breathing was heavy. His body was losing strength. Still, the strange glow in his veins gave him just enough fire to stand tall beside the alien princess. Liara swayed on her feet, her hands trembling with energy. Blue sparks flashed from her fingertips, but every spark seemed to cost her more strength. She had only just discovered this new power, and already it threatened to burn her out. "They won't stop," she whispered. "The beasts were bred to fight until death. More will come if these fail." Ethan gritted his teeth. "Then we run. We can't win against a whole pack," the beast snarled, ready to leap again. Before they could, Ethan grabbed Liara's hand and pulled her toward a narrow path between the rocks. The beasts roared and gave chase, their heavy bodies smashing through rubble as they followed. The path twisted downward, leading into the ruins of what had once been a village. Broken homes, scorched walls, and shattered statues loomed in the moonlight. Ethan and Liara ran through the hollow streets, their footsteps echoing like drums. The beasts were faster. Their growls grew closer with every second. Liara stumbled, and Ethan quickly caught her. "Stay with me," he urged. She nodded weakly, but her eyes glowed brighter, her veins shimmering like rivers of light. "The bond. It gives me strength when you believe," she whispered, her voice trembling. "Don't let go." Ethan tightened his grip. "I won't." They darted into a collapsed temple at the edge of the ruins. The walls leaned inward, the roof half buried by rubble. Inside, stone carvings glimmered faintly with alien symbols long forgotten. Ethan shoved a broken pillar into place, blocking the entrance just as the beasts slammed against it. The temple shook, dust raining down. "They'll break through soon," Ethan muttered. He turned to Liara. "Can you use your power again?" She shook her head, sweat on her brow. "Not without burning myself away, but there might be another way." Ethan frowned. "What do you mean?" Liara pointed to the carvings. "This temple belonged to my ancestors. It was built for the royal bloodline. They say it holds the Stone of Breath, a relic that heals and empowers the chosen. If it still exists, it could save us." Ethan raised an eyebrow. "And if it doesn't?" "Then we die here," she said simply. Before Ethan could reply, the beasts roared again, smashing against the temple wall. The cracks spread wider. They didn't have long. "Fine," Ethan said firmly. "Where do we find the stone?" Liara closed her eyes, placing her glowing hand against one of the carvings. The alien symbols lit up faintly, reacting to her touch. A hidden passage rumbled open at the far side of the temple. Ethan blinked. "That's convenient," Liara gave a faint smile. "Royal blood has its uses." They hurried into the passage, the sound of crumbling stone behind them. The tunnel was narrow and dark, but Liara's glowing veins lit the way. Ethan's pulse quickened. He hated leaving enemies alive behind him, but survival came first. The tunnel opened into a hidden chamber deep underground. In the center stood a pedestal, and on it lay a crystal, blue as the night sky, pulsing faintly with light. "The Stone of Breath?" Liara's eyes widened with awe. "It's real." Ethan stepped closer, cautious. "What does it do?" She looked at him, her voice reverent. It chooses. If it accepts us, it will strengthen the bond. If not, it will destroy us both. Ethan gave a dry laugh. Of course. Nothing can ever be simple. Before they could decide, the wall behind them shattered. The beasts had forced their way into the temple, their roars shaking the chamber. Dust and debris fell as the monsters charged into the passage. They're here, Ethan shouted. Liara looked at him desperately. Touch the stone with me, now! Ethan hesitated only a moment, then grabbed her hand. Together they placed their hands on the glowing crystal. Instantly a surge of energy exploded through them, brighter than fire, colder than ice. Their bodies shook, their veins burning with light. The chamber trembled, and the air filled with a blinding blue glow. The beasts burst into the room, but stopped. They whimpered, backing away, their glowing eyes dimming in fear. Ethan gasped, his body filled with new strength. His wounds no longer ached. His vision sharpened, and his arms felt like iron. Liara stood beside him, her entire form glowing like a star reborn. Her hair shimmered with silver light, and her eyes blazed like galaxies unleashed. The beasts roared in desperation, but Ethan stepped forward, no longer afraid. With a single swing of his arm, powered by the bond, he struck the ground. A shockwave of light burst outward, hurling the beasts back into the walls. They howled once, and then lay still. Silence fell over the chamber. Ethan's chest heaved, but this time not from weakness. He felt alive, stronger than ever. Liara looked at him, awe in her glowing eyes. The stone has accepted us, she whispered. We are chosen. Ethan exhaled, staring at his glowing hands. Chosen for what? Liara's smile faded into something darker. For a fate neither of us can escape. Above them, distant horns sounded. The armies of both sides were on the move. The war was not ending, it was coming closer. And now, Ethan and Liara carried a secret that could change everything. The chamber was silent after the beasts fell, their bodies lying motionless against the broken stone walls. The glow of the stone of breath still pulsed faintly, and its strange power flowed through Ethan and Liara like fire in their veins. Ethan stood straighter, his wounds closed, his breathing steady. For the first time since the battle began, he felt whole. But deep inside, he also felt something new. His heartbeat no longer belonged to him alone. Every pulse echoed with Liara's. Every breath carried both their lives. The bond was stronger now, too strong to ignore. Liara lowered her hand from the stone, her glowing eyes softening. She turned toward him. The stone has bound us completely. We are no longer separate. What happens to you? Happens to me? Ethan frowned, running a hand over the faint blue lines now etched across his skin. So if I die too, she whispered. The weight of her words sank into him. He had thought saving her life was a single act of kindness. But now it had become a chain tying their fates forever. Before he could speak, the ground above rumbled. The horns of war echoed again, louder this time. Dust rained from the ceiling. Liara's expression darkened. They're searching. Both sides. Ethan narrowed his eyes. Then we move before they trap us. They climbed out of the hidden chamber, slipping back into the ruins above. The battlefield beyond was alive again. Human soldiers clashing with alien troops, fire lighting the sky, screams tearing the night. Ethan's instincts screamed at him to rejoin his men, but he knew what would happen if they saw him with Liara. She was no ordinary enemy. She was their crown jewel. As they crept through the shadows, Liara suddenly stopped. Her hand pressed to her chest and her face twisted with pain. Ethan grabbed her shoulder instantly. What's wrong? She gasped. Someone feels it. My father. He knows I live. He knows I am bound. Ethan froze. Bound? You mean he can sense me, she whispered. And if he can sense me, he will sense you too. Ethan's stomach dropped. The alien king and the most powerful enemy of humanity now had a link to him through Liara. He wasn't just carrying her life anymore. He was carrying a beacon that could expose them both. Suddenly, voices rang out nearby. A group of human soldiers marched into the ruins, their weapons ready. Ethan's heart leapt. His unit, his people, relief surged through him, but it quickly died when he realized what this meant. If they saw Liara, they would kill her without hesitation. The soldiers spotted him. Captain Hayes, one of them shouted. We thought you were dead. Ethan forced a smile. I'm alive, barely. They rushed toward him, offering water and supplies. Liara remained hidden in the shadows of the temple wall. Her glowing veins dimmed as much as she could force them. Ethan's mind raced. He couldn't let them see her, not yet. The sergeant looked at him closely. "You're hurt, sir? Let us take you back to command." Ethan nodded slowly, but his hand drifted toward his side where Liara waited unseen. The bond pulsed inside him, urging him to protect her. He realized then that he could no longer walk both paths. He couldn't be a soldier and her protector at the same time. His duty and his heart were tearing apart. Before he could decide, Liara whispered in his mind, "Don't choose. Not yet. Hide me. Protect me, please." Ethan stiffened. He could hear her inside his head. The bond was deeper than he imagined. "Captain?" the sergeant asked, frowning. Ethan straightened, forcing his voice steady. "Not yet. The field isn't secure. We need to regroup here. Hold this ground until reinforcements arrive." The soldiers obeyed, setting up defenses. Ethan used the distraction to slip back to Liara. She looked at him, fear and trust mixing in her gaze. "They don't know," she whispered. "They can't," Ethan replied firmly. "Not until I figure out what this bond really means." That night, while the soldiers kept watch, Ethan and Liara hid deeper in the ruins. The war raged around them, but inside their hiding place, silence stretched. Finally, Ethan turned to her. "Tell me the truth. What does this bond really do? Why would your father fear it?" Liara hesitated. Then slowly she spoke. "Because the bond is not just life and death. It is power. My blood carries the voice of my people. Your blood carries the strength of yours. Together, we could command both." Ethan blinked, stunned. "You mean, we could end the war?" She nodded, her eyes shimmering. "Or we could start one greater than any before." The weight of her words crashed into him. This wasn't just about saving her anymore. It wasn't even about survival. Their bond could change the future of two civilizations. Outside, the war roared louder. The humans pushed forward, the aliens pushed back. And in the middle of it all, hidden in the ruins, a soldier and a princess carried a secret that no one could know. Ethan clenched his fists, the glow in his veins burning brighter. He didn't know whether their bond was a gift or a curse. But he knew one thing with certainty. The moment the world discovered it, nothing would ever be the same again. The ruins lay quiet under the fading moonlight, but inside Ethan's chest the bond pulsed like a storm. He sat against a broken wall, his soldiers asleep nearby, their rifles resting close. Across from him, hidden in the darker corner of the ruins, Liara sat with her knees pulled close, her glowing eyes dimmed to almost nothing. She had to remain unseen, but even hidden, Ethan could feel her. The bond had grown stronger since the stone of breath. It was no longer only in his veins, and it was in his mind. Every time she breathed, he felt it. Every time she shivered, his body tensed as if it were his own. He closed his eyes, trying to rest, but a whisper cut through his thoughts. A voice, deep, commanding, "Alien. You carry what is mine, human." Ethan's eyes snapped open. The soldiers around him slept undisturbed, but the voice had not come from outside. It had come from inside his mind. "Return her to me, or your blood will burn until nothing remains." His hand instinctively clutched his glowing arm. The pain flared, sharp and real. Ethan gritted his teeth, refusing to answer. But he knew who it was. The Alien King, Liara's father. Across the chamber, Liara stirred. Her eyes opened, and she looked at him with dread. "You heard him, didn't you?" Ethan nodded grimly. "He's in my head." "He knows." Liara's face paled. "The bond links us both to him. He can reach you now, just as he reaches me. That is why he fears this bond. It does not just connect us. It weakens his hold on me." Ethan leaned forward, whispering sharply. "Then he'll never stop hunting us." Her voice was quiet, trembling with fear. "No. He will destroy everything until I am back in his hands." Before Ethan could respond, the sound of heavy engines rumbled across the battlefield. Searchlights swept over the ruins. Alien war machines, towering walkers, moved slowly through the dark, hunting. Ethan's soldiers woke, panic flashing in their eyes. "Captain, we need to move," the sergeant barked. Ethan nodded, signaling them into formation. He risked a glance at Liara. She gave the faintest nod and slipped back into the shadows, following unseen. The squad moved silently through the wreckage, but the alien machines were relentless. One beam of light swept across them, and instantly the walkers opened fire. Explosions ripped through the ruins, scattering stone and flame. Ethan shouted orders, returning fire with his men. But as chaos erupted, Liara's control slipped. Her glow flared brighter in the darkness. The soldiers saw it, faint at first, then undeniable. "Sir," one soldier shouted. "There's something behind you." Ethan spun, his rifle raised, but it wasn't an enemy. It was Liara, her body glowing like a living star. Her hands raised as she unleashed a blast of energy that struck one of the alien machines, tearing it apart in a storm of blue light. The soldiers froze, their eyes wide. "What the hell is that?" the sergeant whispered. Ethan's heart pounded. There was no hiding it now. "She's with me," he said firmly. The men stared in shock. That's one of them. "Sir, she'll kill us all." Ethan stepped in front of Liara, his rifle raised, not at her, but at his own men. "She saved me. Without her, I'd be dead. Without her, you'd all be dead. She's not the enemy." The silence was sharp, heavy with fear and confusion. Then from the shadows another voice cut through. Not human, not Liara's. The alien king's voice thundered inside every soldier's mind. "The human lies. She is mine. Give her to me, and I will spare you." The soldiers clutched their heads, groaning at the invasion. Liara fell to her knees, pain etched on her face. Ethan grabbed her shoulders, his voice desperate. "Stay with me, Liara. Fight him!" Her eyes glowed brighter, her veins burning with blue fire. "He's too strong," she gasped. "He's pulling me back." Ethan's arm flared with the same light. His jaw clenched, his voice rising in defiance. "Then we fight together." Energy crackled between them, their bond sparking like lightning. The king's voice roared with fury inside their minds, but for the first time Ethan felt something else. Resistance. The bond didn't just connect them to the king. It pushed back. The alien machines advanced again, firing at the ruins. Ethan's soldiers scattered for cover, but Liara stood, her body blazing like a torch. With Ethan's hand gripping hers, their combined light surged outward, striking the nearest walker and splitting it in half. The explosion shook the earth. The soldiers stared in disbelief. The sergeant's voice trembled. "Captain, what are you?" Ethan didn't answer. He couldn't. He didn't know himself anymore, but in that moment, under the fire and smoke, he realized something. The king wasn't just hunting them. He was afraid. Afraid of what Ethan and Liara could become together. The bond wasn't only life and death. It was a weapon. As the last of the walkers collapsed, silence fell again. Ethan turned to his soldiers, his face hard. "You have a choice. You can fear her, or you can follow me, and we end this war." The men looked at each other, uncertain, shaken. Liara's glow dimmed as exhaustion dragged her down. Ethan caught her before she fell, his arms steady. In the distance, the alien king's voice whispered once more, softer now, but filled with venom. "You cannot escape me, human. The bond will destroy you both." Ethan looked down at Liara, then back at the burning battlefield. He didn't know if the king was right, but he knew one thing: he would never give her up. Not to him, not to anyone. And as the dawn began to rise, Ethan understood. The war was no longer between armies. It was between a king and the bond he feared most. The rising sun burned across the battlefield, turning the smoke into rivers of gold. Ethan stood on the ridge with Liara leaning against him, her body weak but her eyes still glowing faintly. Around them, the few human soldiers who survived the night watched in silence. Their faces showed fear, confusion, and something else, the weight of choice. They had seen the impossible, an alien princess and a human captain bound together by blood, fighting as one. But was it salvation or disaster? Ethan's chest rose and fell heavily. The bond inside him pulsed with each beat of Liara's heart. He no longer knew where he ended and where she began. The glow in their veins was fading after the long battle, but the connection only grew deeper. "We can't keep running," Ethan said quietly, his gaze fixed on the horizon where alien armies gathered like a dark storm. "Your father will never stop. And my people, they won't trust you." Liara looked at him, her eyes shimmering like galaxies. "Then what do we do?" Ethan clenched his fists. "We end it. Not with more war. With truth," she frowned. "Truth won't save us. Both sides are blinded by hate. Then we show them something they can't deny," he said firmly. His voice carried a fire she had never heard before. "We show them us." Before Liara could answer, the ground shook. From the smoke emerged a massive alien warship, its shadow covering the battlefield. Soldiers on both sides froze, staring upward in terror. A beam of light descended, and with it came a towering figure in gleaming armor. The alien king. His presence filled the air like thunder. His voice echoed inside every mind. "My daughter, my blood, return to me." or burn with the human you cling to. Liara trembled, clutching Ethan's arm. He's here. Ethan stood taller, his hand tightening around hers. Then let him see we're not afraid. The king's soldiers spread across the field, weapons raised. Human rifles lifted in response. The battlefield teetered on the edge of slaughter once more. But then Ethan stepped forward, dragging Liara with him. His voice rang out across the ruins, louder than the drums of war. No more. Look at us. Both armies hesitated. Soldiers from both sides turned their eyes to the human captain and the alien princess, their glowing veins shining in the morning light. I gave her my blood, Ethan shouted.
She gave me hers.
And together, we are still alive. We are proof that your lies are wrong. We are not enemies. We are stronger together than apart. Murmurs spread among the ranks. Some human soldiers lowered their rifles. Some alien warriors faltered, confusion in their eyes. The king's voice roared with fury. Lies! Corruption! The bond is poison! Ethan's veins flared brighter, answering the king's rage. He pulled Liara close, and together they raised their hands. A wave of blue and red light burst outward, spreading across the battlefield. Both armies shielded their eyes as the light swept through them, filling every soldier with the undeniable truth of the bond. For a heartbeat, they all felt it. Human and alien blood beating together as one. When the light faded, silence covered the battlefield. The king's armor crackled with power as he stepped closer, his massive form towering over Ethan. You think you can defy me, human? You think you can take what is mine? Ethan didn't flinch. She's not yours. She's hers. And she's mine. You'll never chain her again. The king raised his hand, power gathering like a storm. Liara gasped, her knees weakening. He's too strong, she whispered. Ethan caught her, his own body burning with the same energy. Not if we fight together. The king unleashed a blast of dark energy, the ground cracking beneath it. Ethan and Liara braced, their joined hands glowing brighter than ever. Their bond answered the strike with a shield of light. The two forces colliding in a storm that shook the earth. The soldiers on both sides watched in awe as human and alien clashed with the king. Light against darkness, blood against tyranny. The sky itself seemed to burn. Ethan felt his strength fading, but Liara's voice filled his mind. Don't give up. If you fall, I fall. Hold on, Ethan, he roared, pushing back with everything he had. Their light surged, overwhelming the king's power. Cracks spread across his armor. His roar of fury turned into one of fear. Impossible. No bond can break me, but it was breaking him. The bond that was supposed to be forbidden, unnatural, had become stronger than his rule. With one final cry, Ethan and Liara unleashed their power together. A wave of light exploded outward, hurling the king back. His armored form shattered, his presence in their minds ripped away. When the dust cleared, the king was gone. Only silence remained. Ethan fell to his knees, his chest heaving, Liara collapsing into his arms. The glow in their veins dimmed to a soft shimmer, no longer a weapon, but a quiet reminder of what they had become. Around them, soldiers from both sides stood in silence, no one raising a weapon. The war had paused, held by the weight of what they had witnessed. Ethan looked at them all, his voice ragged but steady. This bond, it's not poison. It's proof. If a human and an alien can share blood and still live, then so can all of us. For the first time, no one shouted back. No one fired. Only silence, and the faint spark of hope. Liara lifted her head weakly, her voice soft but clear. The war is over. If you choose it. The battlefield remained still, but in that silence something had begun. Not victory, not defeat, something greater. And as Ethan held Liara close, he knew their story was far from finished. But whatever came next, they would face it together.